Hey, Rock and Metal Guardians, it's Dane, and it's time for Fun Forum Friday. Since today's Friday, the topic of interest today is why I still buy physical media, physical product. We'll jump right in. First of all, I want to talk about liner notes, and liner notes are so important to so many of us. They give you an understanding of how the album or record was created, CD, whatever, right? It gives you history, it gives you background, and lyrics. So we'll start with lyrics, really. Lyrics are so important because when you have them, you can follow along with the song, especially for the first time. And like so many written works of art, you go back to them. And it gives you meaning. It gives you a story. If it doesn't give you a story, because let's say it's not a prog rock or concept album, it could still give you, in the context of the song by itself, a mini story, like a short story, that kind of thing. And if it doesn't do that either, it can still give you a message, a theme, some bit of wisdom. So that's why lyrics are so important. Now, if you have an instrumental album, there are going to be no lyrics, but there are other kind of things in the line notes which I'm going to discuss with you now. And that would be when you purchase a CD, an album, whatever, you get in the liner notes, more often than not, 99% of the time, you get to meet the band, you get to meet the producer, the engineer, in a manner of speaking, all the people who contributed to creating that album, that piece. So, for example, if you pull out Farewell to Kings by Rush, you get a nice picture of them. I think Geddy Lee's in the chair, sitting in the chair, and Alex and Neil Peart are standing behind them. It's a very intriguing black and white photo, and then you get the lyrics to the left because it's a gatefold, and you pour over that, and that's what this is so enriching, is that when you purchase, you get all these things, and it becomes an event, and you pour over these things. Yes, the music is what really matters. However, these things all enrich it and make it much richer, and complement the music in so many ways. So meeting the band, meeting the producer, the engineer, as I said, the producer and the engineer might be the same person, of course. And we get to know what they're capable of doing and what we expect from them producing. So, for example, certain names come to mind: Eddie Kramer, Bob Ezrin, Martin Birch, Terry Brown, and these are legendary names. So when we open them, we see the name. Great. With Metallica's fourth album, And Justice for All, Fleming Rasmussen. And to this day, I whine and complain, why didn't Metallica bring him back for the Black Album? Anyway, so story. In addition to the lyrics providing a story, the liner notes give you how was this produced, where it was produced, the studio, for example, in addition to the producer and the engineer. So, for example, we talk about Rush, and they produced and created part of Hemispheres in Wales, Farewell to Kings as well, I believe, somewhere in Britain. And so, Le Studio for Permanent Waves and the follow-up Moving Pictures. And then it's also about the history, as I said, of how the record was created. And what ties to that is you may have some information in the booklet that you get, the trials and tribulations that the band went through, the painstaking things. So if you're a Jethro Tull fan, you learn about how miserable the band were when they went off to the chateau. I can't remember the name of the chateau. I think it was in France. And then they went back to England to record and start fresh. And then the stuff they recorded in the chateau eventually makes its way onto the box set. And then there's even another double CD of things that they did that didn't make it onto a Passion Play. So these are all nice, wonderful factors that tie into the liner notes that make listening to music an event. Artwork and photos. You get to meet the band not only by learning what instruments they play. So, for example, when you look at Rush, you see all the different things that Neil Peart added to his kit, starting with 2112 or Farewell to Kings. He's adding wind chimes and wood blocks and a glockenspiel and all these wonderful things to give texture and variety to his music. And then the photos give us an idea of who they are as people, their fashion sense or not so much fashion sense, that kind of thing. And the artwork, like the Roger Dean stuff, right? The things he did with Yes and so many other bands. Gentle Giant comes to mind. And then you have Hypnosis, which is known for its artwork. They did Yes is Going for the One and Technical Ecstasy by Black Sabbath. So, and a lot of people make a connection with the art. And so, like I said, it becomes an event. We pour over that. We sit there with the context in which we're given things. And we make a connection between the music and how it was created and why it was created. So there's story with the lyrics, there's story with how something was made. And it's nice to display. So when people come over, they can go, ooh, and they, ooh, can I, and they look at it and they, nice album cover, and, hey, let's play this, that kind of thing. Or if you're not having company, it's still nice for yourself. There's a certain joy that comes with going to where you have your CDs or your vinyl and reaching for it. It's like I said, it's monumental. It's an event, a word I keep coming back to because it's just a wonderful word. So that event factor is so important to those of us who like collecting and physical products. So let's talk about collecting for a minute. There's a certain joy that comes with collecting. It's a hobby. It's nice to get a package, right? There's that anxiety, that beautiful anxiety, to make it an oxymoron, because it's not stressful most of the time. If you get a package that's lost or they deliver it to the wrong person, that's when it's stressful. But the waiting is sometimes, it's like building up. I mean, you get this excitement. You can't wait for it, that kind of stuff. Number 2 is the quality is better if you have a physical product like a vinyl record or a CD compared to just straight listening to something on, holding in your hand, listening to your phone. I've gone to people who have the Amazon Dot or Alexa. Hey, Alexa, could you play so-and-so? And it doesn't sound terrible. It doesn't sound wonderful either. Where's the EQ? Would you have an EQ for this thing? Just use my phone to make a playlist or something. No EQ, no. They may have them now, I don't know, but I don't shell out $139 for Amazon Prime anymore because it's too expensive for me. And we'll get back to cost towards the end of the video. So the quality is better if you have a nice, or at least a decent stereo system. You don't even need a really good stereo system. For example, before Hurricane Ida, you can buy a little amp about yay big and hook it up to your laptop with some desktop speakers. And it sounds wonderful. 100 watts, 150 watts, sounds amazing with just that. Or you can get a sound bar, but the problem with the sound bar is that's limiting too. You connect it to your TV and say a DVD or rather a Blu-ray player. And the best EQ you have is on the remote. You have a plus or negative for bass and treble, and that's it. That's not much of an EQ with a laptop and, of course, a stereo. Well, the laptop, start with that. If you have iTunes, there's a really decent amount. There's a decent of a quality of EQ that goes with iTunes, and you can adjust it to the settings that you want with the little levers that you put up and down, and you can adjust it for rock or country or metal or whatever, easy listening, whatever you're into, that sort of thing. So we've talked about liner notes and all the things that come with that and why those are so important. We've talked about the quality is better than just listening to on your phone. And shopping can be fun, that hobby factor, right? I talked about when it came to everything so far, the event factor, sitting there and just poring over things. So we'll go back to that. So here's the Queensryche. This is deluxe edition of Operation Mindcrime that has 4 CDs and a bonus, a DVD, and it has a nice gatefold thing for your CDs and a little mini booklet there. But then you get the real treat of this. Of course, the music is the most important. You get a booklet, and like I said, you get context in which it was created. See? you get a history behind the making of the album, and the band members and producer and everyone putting their 2 cents in. And then you get some visuals with the various songs and that kind of thing, speak and spreading the disease to the best songs on the record. So that's that factor there, going back to what I said earlier. Now, here's a big one with me. If we talk about the quality tied to finding what you want if you do it through streaming. So, for example, if you say, and I went through this experience, this wasn't the only time, but this is the best example that I have. Hey, Alexa, could you play Fleetwood Mac's Then Play Now CD? But I specifically asked for the Green Manalishi the Green Manalishi with a 2-prong crown. And I was trying to show my friend who had it how great the song was, because they weren't familiar with it, because they were familiar with the Judas Priest version only. And so it's supposed to be like somewhere in the middle of the album, and it was at the end, and I thought, well, that's funny. Turns out they re-released it as a special edition, and now it's at the end for some reason because they added some songs and whatnot. So that's frustrating. And I began to think about, well, here's the problem with Alexa and streaming like that. When you buy physical product, you know what you're getting. If you don't, and you stream and that sort of thing, is it the original version? Is it a remastered version? Is it a remastered version? What year? Is it a remix? Is it like the new Black Sabbath came out, the remix? So is it like that? Is it an anniversary edition? Is it an alternate edition? Is it live? Is it a demo? Is it an alternative track version? Is it a bonus track version? There's so many different variables. You not necessarily know which version you're getting, and that can be quite frustrating. And then worst of all is, I have a friend who's a Virgin Steel fan, so him and I went to our friend's house who has the Alexa, and he said, hey Alexa, could you play Virgin Steel's album House of Atreus Parts 1 and 2? It's a double CD collection. And it couldn't find it. It didn't have it in a database. So if it doesn't have it in your database, then you have to buy it yourself. And that's, I don't buy everything. I wanted to make that clear. I can't buy everything. I can't own everything. Space, money, all that sort of thing. But if it's something I really want after having listened to it, I'm going to get it. I'm going to buy it. Because, as I said, of all these things that go with that. And the last couple things I'll mention is, one, I don't need another bill. You know, with car insurance and rent and everything, gas and all that, groceries, I don't need another X number of dollars a month for an Alexa or whatever, or Spotify, which of course is cheaper. But instead, I buy music on my terms. Not, oh boy, once a month, I must have this every month. No, I don't want that. It's on my terms. I don't buy music every month. Although lately I have, but it's going to stop. And then I'll stop for a while, and then when the mood arises, I want to get this, and it may be weeks. It may not be month to month. So that's why streaming. And then also, when you stream, artists only make pennies on the dollar for streaming things, as opposed to, theoretically, a CD or vinyl record, they get more of a cut from those purchases. And finally, I think a lot of people stream because it's technology for technology's sake, because it's something new, it's something fresh, and it's not necessary. It's just something, oh, I have to have this because it's a new thing. That Iron Man mentality, you know, the superhero, where he's constantly upgrading his armor. That I don't need to upgrade constantly. That's just I'm a big stickler on not doing that sort of thing. If that's your jam, great. So there you have it, everybody. This is my reasons why I buy physical product. And I'd very much like to see what your comments are about physical product. Do you stream? Do you buy physical product? Do you buy both? Why or why not? Thanks for joining me. Have a great day.